Reclaiming silk screens. So this is going to be a video that walks you through removing screen filler and through removing emulsion. So first thing you want to do is you want to get both sides of the screen wet. So I'm just using a hose with a spray nozzle just to get the front and back of the screen wet. I usually want to apply these chemicals to a damp screen, not a dry screen. So I'm going to be first removing screen filler. So in this screen I have both screen filler and emulsion. So the screen filler requires a different chemical to be removed. So that is, I'm using Grease Lightning. Basically you can use any sort of degreaser here, but I'm gonna spritz on some Grease Lightning on the front of this screen, just over the areas where there's screen filler. So the screen filler's, like I said, kind of like greasy, like kind of clay slip. So then I'm gonna really scrub that into the screen. You notice that I'm wearing gloves, I'm wearing ear protection because it's really loud in this washout booth. And then I flip it around. I'm gonna scrub the other side really well. And I should see the screen filler start to break down a little bit when I do this. So you wanna be really thorough about scrubbing it, because if you're thorough, then it makes the pressure washing out of this stuff really easy. So scrubbing really well, obviously sped up here. Then I'm gonna turn on the pressure washer. Our unit has a red on, white off system. The water should always be on to the pressure washer before you turn on the pressure washer, so make sure your water's on. And then I'm gonna use the pressure washer to remove the screen filler. So when I start, I'm always gonna start off the screen and then move on to it. So pressure washer starts, off the screen, and then I move on to it. And I can get pretty close to the screen here to make sure that this stuff comes out pretty quick. If you've done your job and you've scrubbed really well, this should all come out pretty fast. If you didn't scrub very well, you might have to spray this again and hit it again with the pressure washer. So it's really good just to be thorough about your scrubbing the first time, so that you aren't here for a really long time spraying this thing out. So a little more of a close-up view, you want to see that all that red is out of the pores of the screen, and that I'm back to the yellow of the silk screen mesh here. At the end, I always get a little bit close to this and make sure there aren't little tiny micro dots that are left around, because if those get stuck in the screen, they just get harder and harder to remove the longer they're in there. So I just want to make sure that everything is completely out here first. You also notice that this is breaking down the emulsion a little bit too, but it's going to be a lot easier if I use the emulsion remover to actually remove the emulsion rather than the Grease Lightning. So once I finish up there, I'm going to remove the emulsion now. So don't mix chemicals. Always make sure that you're using these at different times. So don't like spray the Grease Lightning on and then the emulsion remover. So I have a concentrated emulsion remover. I'm gonna go ahead and, if this was the only thing I was doing, I would still mist the screen down first. So, and then I just do a light mist over the surface of this, and then I'm gonna scrub really well again. Make sure you hit the corners, make sure you hit the entire screen, so it's good just to kind of go in a pattern here. I'm pressing down relatively hard, but not hard enough that I would puncture through the screen here. So you see, being really thorough, hitting everything. And then I'm gonna flip the screen around. I'm gonna lightly spritz the inside here once again, and then I'm gonna scrub the inside. And you might be able to see here that the emulsion is like breaking down a little bit. You can see it getting lighter. You can see it running a little bit, and that's a good sign that this is going to be really easy to wash out. You might have to scrub areas where it's a little bit thicker, a little bit longer, so that you're really working that chemical in. Flipping it around again, and one last scrub on the front. Like I said, just like the screen filler that we removed, if you're really thorough about scrubbing this in, pressure washing the screen should go really, really fast. If you're not, that thorough, it could take a long time. You also never want to let the emulsion remover dry on the screen, because sometimes that'll lock the emulsion into the screen. So you can step away for a brief period of time, but you always want to make sure you're like kind of keeping the screen damp and keeping the chemical damp on the screen. So since I scrubbed it really well, you can see how fast this stuff washes out of the screen. It's really quick. Just one pass over top is knocking all that emulsion out. So I'm just hitting any little micro dots of emulsion that might be hanging around, getting a little bit closer on those, making sure all that stuff's gone so that I don't have to have it as a white space in my screen later. I'll go ahead and drip dry it, and I can put it back in the rack or put it out in the sun to dry or in front of a fan to dry. And then it's ready for emulsion again.